month of August 2022. As a party, we were not lucky to make achievements as we had projected. We thank you for our support, and we thank our support base for showing up and voting for our candidates across the country. As Greens, we've already started the journey of making Greens a major part of our county assemblies and the House of Parliament as we look forward to victory in the 2027 general elections. The UGM party would like to thank Kenyans for the peaceful manner in which they conducted themselves both during and after the general elections of August 2022. As a party that values non-violence as one of its core principles, we felt honored by this behavior. For a country that has had bad elections, marred with pre-election and post-election violence, with the exception of 2002 at the advent of multi-party politics, the 2022 outcome is refreshing and not a mean achievement. It is a testimony that our democracy is indeed maturing. We Greens lost these elections. Like all elections, we cannot all be winners. We must now retreat to our boardrooms to reset, strategize, and plan for the next cycle and contest. We may have misgivings, we may have many views concerning the ability of our institutions, and we may well also agree with IEBC on many fronts. But as UGM party, we know democracy to be a work in progress. Ours as Kenya is fast maturing, and our institutions are constantly improving, which is why we think it is irresponsible for any contestant, party, or coalition in the just concluded general elections to fan and stoke embers that may cause violence. The IEBC had a bad election in 2017. The courts helped them improve by making the 2022 general elections a bit more credible, transparent, verifiable, and ultimately better than the 2017 elections. The 2017 presidential election was marred with irregularities that led to the annulment by the Supreme Court because the petitioners built and proved their case. The 2022 presidential election was contested in the same court and was dismissed, and the court dismissed the petition. The Supreme Court, in its full judgment, will give pointers on how to make future elections in Kenya better. That, in our view, is how to make our democracy stronger. We must constantly toss and turn the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive to make them work for us. Once we have tested them and they have responded, we let them be. As United Green Movement Party, we would like to take great exception with the ongoing attacks on the judiciary and the IEBC by some contestants in the just concluded general elections. Kenya is not like in George Orwell's Animal Farm, where some citizens are more equal than others, where it is either your way or the highway. The institutions do not always have to decide things in our favor for the institutions to be seen as working in good order. Article 10 of the Constitution speaks to the national values and principles of governance, including patriotism, national unity, the rule of law, inclusiveness, and social justice. Every Kenyan leader should breathe life into these national values and principles enshrined in the Constitution. The belief in the rule of law does not mean that you must agree with the outcome of institutions, but behoves you to respect them. Respecting what you do not agree with means you desist from talking badly about those institutions. We would like to request the various contestants, political parties, and coalitions in the past general elections to let our institutions be. We also lost, but we are handling our losses as it should be. The Constitution puts in place the manner and way of removing Supreme Court judges. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 does not state that if you do not agree with the ruling of a court, you subject 1 million Kenyans to remove a judge. These unorthodox proposals are outdated. Let us follow the law, bring a petition for the removal of a particular judge or a particular commission. The Constitution puts in place the manner and way of removing IEBC commissioners. So whoever feels that the institutions are not working as per the Constitution should follow the law and help us grow these institutions. It is by keeping our institutions constantly in check that we make them work for us. to make Kenya a democratic country. God bless the United Green Movement Party. God bless Kenya.
Thank you very much, Brenda. That's the end of our statement. And just before we take any questions, in case you have any, I think the point we want to make is that Kenya is a democratic country. Kenya is a country that has a constitution that has been heralded as one of the best, not just in Africa, but across the world. That very constitution makes the Kenyan people supreme, and the supremacy of the Kenyan people is undoubted. It is true that Article 2 of the Constitution of Kenya does delegate power to the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. But that delegated power, once it has been used in a manner that speaks to the voice and the people of Kenya, we should then respect the decisions of those institutions. Article 10, which is part of the national values and principles of good governance, speaks to, like what Brenda has read, rule of law, patriotism, national unity, amongst others. It is true that the just ended presidential elections was very closely contested. But it is the time now to unite the country and let us move forward. For us as a political party that believes in nonviolence, the 2022 general election speaks volumes. That, like Brenda has said, it's for the first time that a general election was contested in this manner, very close, too close to call, yet no Kenyans face each other in the manner of tribe, in the manner of ethnicity. I think that is a good point, and that is the way the country should move forward. Not all of us can be winners. Some must lose elections. That is the reason actually why people go to the elections. As Greens, we lost the elections. We are taking it in good measure. We're already back to the boardrooms. We're strategizing. We want to move forward. We'd just like to caution other contestants, other political party coalitions, that they should not threaten us. None of us is a tenant in this country. None of us is more equal than the other. We believe in the principle of the rule of law. The courts have spoken. Let's listen to the courts. The institutions of the judiciary spoke. The IEBC spoke. If we disagree with them, the constitution that we, all of us have read, and Article 3, we're supposed to uphold and protect, creates a mechanism of which we deal with things. The Kenyan constitution is not very idle. It anticipated all scenarios. It anticipated that in the morning you might wake up and not like the president. It shows you how you can remove the president. The constitution anticipated that you might wake up one day and not like your MCA. It's there in enshrines how you remove your MCA. The constitution anticipated that you might just not like the face of a commissioner. It is there in written now you can remove the commissioner we do not like. So let us avoid an orthodox means of trying to make sure the country is perpetually in a mood of non-violence. Kenya's economy is doing very badly. Let's move the country towards recovery, and we really think as United Green Movement Party that Kenyans should keep in this particular peaceful manner, being patriotic, and move the country forward. There's great issues with youth unemployment. As a political party that has youth unemployment that is part of its pillars, we really hope that the new administration can work on making young people have employment. We hope that it is not just empty campaign rhetoric. It is a time now where the rubber meets the road. The new president needs to work to make sure that Kenyan young men and women have jobs. As a political party, we also aspired, part of our manifesto was on the environment issues. The Kenyan environment is constantly becoming degraded, and we hope we heard in the president's address that he's going to be dealing with issues of climate change. It's not just climate change, we also hope that he can put in place issues to protect and conserve our environment. As a Green Party, we'll always be constantly keeping the presidents in check, we'll always be asking questions and along the lines of our manifesto. Otherwise, we wish Kenyans a very good couple of years, and as contestants in the next election 2027, as Greens, we are ready, and we're thanking our supporters, and we look forward to more Kenyan supporting Green Party candidates in the next elections. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. We're happy to take any questions if at all there are any. Thank you very much. Kuna mwenye kuna swali? Ama kuna maswali?
According to Raila Odinga, he actually genuinely won the election. However, the courts to some extent denied him his victory.
Okay, is there another question apart from this one, Raila Odinga? We're happy to deal with. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Did you speak? I want to respond. I'm happy to speak. So first of all, our call was not particularly targeting Raila Amolo Odinga, but now that you've asked me a specific question about him, maybe I'm happy to deal with it as well. The reason why we speak about national values and principles is that, maybe you want to go now so that you don't interrupt. Thank you very much. The reason why, as a political party, we have highlighted the issues of Article 10 of the Constitution, national principles and values, is that part of our pillars as a political party is the belief in rule of law. As a United Movement Party, if you look at part of our pillars, is youth and employment, environment, economy, rule of law, social justice, and the environment. So any attack or an address that threatens the rule of law, whether it comes from the judiciary, the executive, the legislature, or a political party coalition, as Greens will always speak against it or in support of it, depending on whichever way it goes. The sense of going to court on any litigation issue is that courts need to help us obtain closure. If you look at the judicial process of the country, the Supreme Court is the highest in the land. It's supposed to help us bring closure. It does not have to decide in the way you want. The only thing it helps us do as a country is it helps us bring closure. So the 2022 presidential election, there was closure. And the Supreme Court declared and upheld the results of His Excellency President William Ruto. Many of us may not agree with it, but the courts have spoken. It's an institution of our democracy. That is what makes us different from wild animals. And that's why we are not in George Orwell's Animal Farm. The courts have spoken. In their view, IEBC conducted a credible, verifiable election. Let's move on with it. That's what the law says. That is in their view. If at all you have a contrary view, there are the courts. You can go to the East African Court of Justice. You can go elsewhere and find other ways. But for as long as Kenyans right now are concerned, it does not make sense to bastardize our institutions. You know, the fact that you do not respect the court of law, the fact that you do not respect the presidency, the fact that you do not respect the House of Parliament, then it does not make sense why you campaign and champion for the rule of law. We must respect our institutions, and they must not always work in our favor. So the second question that someone says that, I think he said Raila Odinga believes he won. He's not the IEBC Commission Chairman. The returning officer of IEBC is one Wafula Chebukati. I think Wafula Chebukati did speak and say that the person who won the presidency was His Excellency President William Ruto. The courts have affirmed it, and so this one that Raila won, we went away, contested it. So as far as we're concerned right now, I think the person who won the presidency is His Excellency President William Ruto. If it's another presidential election and he runs again, that's another story. But I think right now, the 2022 general elections, Kenyans have brought it to closure. And again, you're saying that the Azimio coalition have not put into practice what they're threatening to do. But we've been in this country for 25 years. We really know that the Azimio coalition presidential candidate has a way of always morphing and regenerating in very uncharacteristic manner with Olman handshake. You've almost seen a handshake morphing up this morning. So we don't want to be in that particular trajectory. This habit of always having handshakes. Kenya needs a strong opposition, and we hope that Azimio can actually stick and become a strong opposition. As Greens will be here, we'll be opposing. We will be asking questions of the presidency. If William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua make mistakes, we will always be inviting you to Green Action House to ask questions and tell them off. That is what a political party is supposed to do. You're not supposed to be all over the place trying to ask Kenyans to do unorthodox issues. And I really think that as a political party, for now, let the 2020 general elections rest, and let us move forward building a democratic country. Brenda, you want to say something else?
Yeah, the particular question on the Azimio leader not having implemented what he has said, what he has asked, to have 1 million Kenyans do the march to the courts to oust the judiciary, or to express their their discontentment with the decision that was made by the Supreme Court. It is wrong. Number one, because we are enjoying unprecedented peace after this. You do not want to subject 1 million Kenyans to another Chebukati must go, or the Chief Justice, or the justices of the Supreme Court must go and all. We are advocates. We have read the decision. We are waiting for the final decision from the Supreme Court. We would see what exactly their opinions was, and we will criticize it as at when we have read all their reasoning and all. We have had complaints about the manner in which the decision was given and the language that was used, and we have given our criticism on a proper platform, but you do not subject 1 million Kenyans to the danger of tear gas, to the danger of violence, again, in a country that is just trying to recover economically. That's all.
But also, just before, like Brenda says, it is within our constitutional right. Article 37 gives you the right to picket. So it is your constitutional right. But that constitutional right also needs to be exercised in a manner that helps progress the country. And that is the reason we're saying that, yes, it is good, you can picket, you can do all that you want. But with regard to the institutions of the judiciary, there is no way you can have 1 million people remove the judiciary. The only process that the law anticipates is through a constitutional petition. And that is the rule of law. If you want to picket, if you want to bring your supporters to the streets, that's allowed. Bring them from as far as Lodwar to Lokichar. You can take them to Vanga. But in instances of removing the IEBC Commission chairman, file a petition. The Constitution enshrines how that is done. If you want to remove a member of parliament, there is a law that sets out how to remove a member of parliament, not through bringing in your supporters to the streets. That's what we are saying. That's the question we're trying to make. What's cross-examining? Where are they cross-examining them? Vile tumesema ni ya kwamba ni haki yao na ni hiari yao vile wangependa kufanya. Unajua sababu tunasema ya kwamba Kenya ni nchi ambayo inatii katiba, ni kwa sababu katiba inatupatia nafasi ya kufanya yoyote, kutekeleza yoyote ambayo tungependa kuyafanya, lakini sio kwa njia ya kuzurutisha Wakenya wengine au sio kwa njia ya kuvuruga nchi. Tunasema ya kwamba ni vizuri kuheshimu ile matokeo ya mahakama, na kama hujafurahi na vile ilitolewa, kuna maeneo mengine, kuna mahakama mengine kama ile ya East African Court of Justice, na ni haki yao kama coalition, kama chama, waende pale badala ya kutuletea maneno mengine kwa nchi kama vile ambayo tuliona siku 2 siku 3 ambayo imepita. Sawa. Thanks.
Like you are questioning about the Gashaba meeting with Raila Odinga today morning. It's like you are concerned.
Anyone can meet anyone. I can also meet Rigathi Gachagua. I can also meet the president. And Kenyans are free to move. Freedom of association is a constitutional right. So the fact that you hotly contested an election with anyone else does not stop you from meeting your opponents. No, elections are not war. Elections is just a forum for expressing and exchanging your ideas. But we would like Kenyans to be cautious that there are some political leaders who always make inflammatory statements. They always make the country go into a worry mode, a fear mode, and thereafter end up with handshakes. No, I really think the opposition needs to keep its work of checking the executive. We as Greens will stand here and critique the executive. If the executive wants to borrow part of our manifesto on youth and employment, we shall gladly share it with them. If they want to borrow our manifesto on environment, we shall gladly share it with them. But we shall not inflame the country by threatening Kenyans with 1 million and then shaking hands in the morning. That is not proper, and I really think that that's not how to make the democracy work for us. Thank you very much. Thank you, asanteni sana. Nafikiri kama tumejaribu kujibu sana, si ndio? Asanteni sana kwa kuja, na tunashukuru vile mmetusaidiana kwa hii miaka yote. Asante sana Bwana Hemba, na Mungu awabariki.